and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God be the watchman of this nation. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, live in our need. And your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God be the watchman of this nation.
Fellow Ambazonians, let us set the record straight. But before we delve into that, I would like to announce that I have some good news and also some bad news for you today. Permit me to begin with the former. We recently scored 3 major victories in under 2 weeks. Let me remind you. Number 1, as a collective effort, but more especially through your resilience on Ground Zero, we organized a successful 4-day lockdown of our territory from December 4th to 7th as another proof of power and control over our destiny as a people. Yes, we stopped the colonizers in their tracks as they attempted once more to package lies and propaganda for some gullible ones in the international community. Yaounde's crooked attempt to deceive the world that our people have agreed once again to grant them consent to be misgoverned and colonized under some bogus slave status failed. That strategy has always failed, and it will forever fail. The deception was exceptionally overturned, and your voices echoed loud and clear to all to hear when we courageously shut down our territory again with the same authority and gravity we demonstrated on September 22nd and 1st October 2017. 2 historic moments where we all, in our colors and features, came out massively to say goodbye to French Cameroon. The second victory was a byproduct of the first. You made it clear to the entire world that the so-called elections, or rather selection, organized by French Cameroon in our territory, disguised this time around as a token referendum for their special slave status, had nothing to do with the free people of Southern Cameroon. Be it known that the sellouts, enablers, collaborators, traitors, and contractors who tried desperately to betray us and our aspiration for a free and sovereign homeland are just a handful of greedy puppets of French Cameroon politics, unelected councillors, and a few corrupt chiefs and funds who are willing in 2020 to cede our birthright the second time to French Cameroon for the price of betrayal from thieves in Yaoundé. Our third victory was delivered to us at the United Nations Security Council December session. After the United Nations Secretary General's representative to the Central African region, Ambassador Luceni Fall, delivered his very misleading report on the war in Ambazonia, which some analysts have correctly described as a pro-Yaoundé propaganda piece. Every member of the Security Council except 2 essentially asked the colonizers in Yaoundé to meet Ambazonia on the table of negotiations under the auspices of the Swiss government. Cameroon can run, but she can no longer hide from the truth. And the truth is that the war is escalating because Paul Biya, under France's protection, is refusing to come to the table to talk with Ambazonia. Fellow countrymen and women, dear Ambazonians, our victories, and I am intentionally limiting myself to these 3, have rattled the embattled colonizers. ferrying chiefs and funds, war refugees in helicopters and armor cars to vote in sham elections, forcing sick chiefs on their hospital beds to go out and participate in their charade, even if one will die in the process, is an all-time low. Corrupting chiefs and funds to desecrate their traditions and thrones, to turn against their own people, their own subjects, will never again compel Ambazonia to be part of the evil contraption called La République du Cameroon. That said, fellow Ambazonians, the bad news I have is that our collective success has predictably generated a lot of jealousy, fear, and desperation in the camp of the enemy, within and without. Some of the chiefs who were ready to sell their own grandmothers' graves and sacrifice their own babies in rituals in order to deliver victory to the colonizers have now gone insane, roaming our streets and spewing hate and frustration. And if you are on social media, as everyone is these days, you may have seen the viral video of a certain French Cameroon army corporal from Wassa in Boya. He's called Ewome John Eko, who calls himself Moja Moja, a snake charmer who misrepresents himself as a Bakure village chief, issuing an ultimatum dictating to the people from the savannah area who live in Boya and the environs to vacate Bakure towns immediately or face unspecified threats. Mula Ewome, imba ikomarako ezroa liwenja morozi ni komakoa. Nakwewa southern Cameroons, wakewa bonda, the offspring of Sako, Pessoa liwenja morozi ikome and Kowa, who is the founder of Bokova, the leader of southern Cameroons. Ewome, you are fighting against your shadow. Fellow Ambalanders, permit me to address my people of Fako in this regard. Like some of you, I am 100% son of the soil of Ambazonia. I speak for the immortal Bakure warrior king, Kuali Kenya, who in 1891 fought valiantly and defeated Imperial Germany. I speak for the no-nonsense Dr. Emmanuel Mbela Lifafa Endeli, who rejected black-on-black slavery under Eastern Nigeria. I speak for the right honorables like P.M. Motombi Wolete, P.M. Kale, and Mulanjo Litumbe, who believed fervently in the independence of southern Cameroon. If these forebears of our struggle for freedom were alive and free today, they will certainly be on my side, not on the side of the likes of Moja Moja, not on the side of bootlickers like Peter Mafani Mosonge. No French Cameroon hired Bakwerian feeding fat on the crumbs from our killers loves the Bakweri people more than me. If you say you are or you love your people, you cannot endorse their slavery under a foreign dominion. You cannot also declare a stupid war that pits the Bakure people against fellow southern Cameroonians. If Corporal Ewome John was a reasonable Bakure soldier in the French Cameroon military, he would have been rather numbered amongst those Cameroon army deserters who would rather die helping our restoration forces to liberate our land from everlasting slavery. But the so-called Moja Moja is a slave and a coward. Can someone help me here, please, and tell us what advantages Bakwerians in Wakingili, Misaka, Mondoni, Wassa, Monyenge, Likombe, Wola, Wonakanda, Sanje, Bimbia, Ekona Lelu, Ikata, Wonduma, Likomba, Wotutu, etc. What are they enjoying in this one Cameroon contraption that some sellouts are claiming to protect? And which of those advantages will an independent Ambazonia take away from Bakwarians? Is it our lands that French Cameroon seized from us with the help of Peter Masfani Mosonge? Your answer is as wanting as mine. My dear people of Ambazonia, remember this. Everyone in Ambazonia will live freer and empowered in a free and independent Ambazonia than under any kind of arrangement within the present One Cameroon lie. All native land rights, especially the Bakweri native rights to the 42,000 hectares of land stolen from them by French Cameroon through the CDC, will only be restored in a free southern Cameroon's Ambazonia, not within some special slave status within French Cameroon. It would have been easier for me to just tell every Ambazonian to ignore haters like Chief Ewome John, but I cannot do that because he's not alone. He is acting on behalf of and for the benefit of his hirer, La République du Cameroun, with the blessing of other misguided haters walking in the shadows, committed to furthering our slavery under French Cameroon, in exchange for some miserable crumbs falling off their slave master's table. No enabler, no evil collaborator, no colonial administrator, and no so-called counselor, unelected mayor or chief of fund, none of these, whatever their title, whatever their ranks in the colonial system, no one who sides with our adversaries against the freedom of Southern Cameroons should be given listening ears, ever in Ambazonia. These are now fugitives wanted by the people of Ambazonia. They are guilty of betraying us by their many attempts to legitimize the French Cameroon arguments, justifying the war declared on the people of Southern Cameroon on November 30th, 2017. They are guilty of consciously aiding French Cameroon's final attempt to annihilate our people from the face of the earth. Humiliated by our restoration forces on the battlefields, outsmarted in international diplomacy by Ambazonia, even before the Security Council of the United Nations, unable to derail our cause by engineering ethnic hatred between the people of the Savannah area and their brothers and sisters of the coastal area. The colonizers have recruited the likes of the snake charmer, some selfish chiefs like Tabetando, Von Binlo, Von Aguafo, to destroy the common values we hold so dear as a people. As a proud Ambazonian of Bakweri descent, I can say on behalf of 8 million of our Ambazonians that neither these old expired tricks nor the new lies will destroy the legendary hospitality of our patriotic Bakweri people towards our brethren from everywhere in Ambazonia. Sako is the #1 cosmopolitan county in Ambazonia and the proud host of our capital city. Have you cared to ask why? It is because Bakweri people are not tribalistic. They detest tribalism. They are some of the finest nationalists we have in Ambazonia who think country first, Ambazonia first. That's how Sako became home away from home for almost every family and tribe in Ambazonia. We are one Ambazonia, one love, one people, one flag, one purpose, and that purpose is the total restoration of our independence. Fellow Ambazonians, dear Southern Cameroonians, permit me to ask you this question also. If you were born in Tombel in Kupe Monenguba, of a father from Boyo and a mother from Dian, your family home is in Bamenda, where you are established. But after graduation from college in Boya, you decided to establish your residence in Manyo and marry a girl whose mother was from Goketunja and father from Manyo. Which should we consider as your county of origin? And will it be wrong for your children to say they have the right to choose whether to belong to Boyo, Ndian, Kupe Manenguba, Goketunja, or Manyo? The answer is quite simple. Our democracy shall be strict on protecting minority groups, but it shall be an Ambazonia where your established county of birth or residence is no less politically consequential than the county of origin of any of your parents or foreparents. In the United States, the beacon of liberty, where you are established with proof of residence, is most important. Ambazonia shall be a city on the hill. We shall strive to build a strong and economically vibrant nation with a democracy that is founded on fairness and the humane principle of equity, where equality alone does not produce the justice we need. We will not succumb, however, to the brutality of extreme ethnicity with xenophobic tendencies. Divide and rule is not strange in the scripts of this colonial movie in Ambazonia. The colonizers once formed Vikuma as a Ku Klux Klan against our sisters and brothers of the Savannah area. But Vikuma failed woefully. They invented the politics of come no go, and it failed also. Just as their senior headmaster recently acknowledged in Paris in 2019 that they tried to assimilate the Southern Cameroons from 1961 till date. But as he publicly admitted, they failed. Again, I say, they failed before, they will fail again. Ambazonia is the bone that has refused to be swallowed. The only solution is to let it go. Valiant people of Ambazonia, the interim government is taking those inciting xenophobia in Ambazonia seriously. And we are vigilant, not because we fear that you, the people of Ambazonia, will be misled by such messengers of evil. We just wish to bring to your consciousness the deafening silence of the colonial occupiers, the complicity of their colonial genocidal administrators, the vicious calculations of their terrorist occupation forces. And we are also wishing to highlight the loud silence of the CPDM political pimps from Sako County and the so-called elite from the southern area. Take note, this is not silence. We see the tacit complicity in their silence. We also now see why Chief John Gute, the Prime Minister of the colonial La Republique, came all the way from Yaoundé to Boya just to congratulate this war criminal, Moja Moja, the leader of the CPDM campaign for xenophobia in southern Cameroon. Remember the colonial PM congratulating Moja Moja for doing a good job? Those are his words. That's how low Bia's officials can go in their desperation to avoid the lasting solution to this war, which is dialogue. Let me say this in the strongest terms. Our struggle for the restoration of independence is not founded on hate, greed, or personal interest. Our struggle is built on truth and justice. We are committed to restoring an independent homeland. We have pledged to build a peaceful, just, and inclusive nation in which where you are born shall not be used as a pretext to limit the endless opportunities God provided to every human being and citizen anywhere in the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. Now, I speak to every crazy one who might be tempted, like fishes in water, to follow the madness of some of those chiefs and community leaders who have chosen the path of darkness, in the likes of the demented chief of Basa. The day of reckoning for all war criminals shall come sooner than later. A few chiefs and their cell leaders have made a choice to reject the will of the majority of their own subjects by siding with the slave masters. These are dummies who have betrayed all of us, and they have lost all legitimacy. They have made themselves cheap political pawns in the war chase of French Cameroon, such that cash-strapped French Cameroon, in a bid to stop the huge allowances they are paying these chiefs for doing little or nothing to deliver their chiefdoms to French Cameroon, can waste them and try to pin it on our Ambazonia restoration forces as usual. Because as we progress in this war, such people will be of no value to La République du Cameroon. They will become wasteful liabilities. That said, our restoration forces will not tolerate any form of discrimination and hate speech which the crumbling French Cameroon war machine wants to employ as backup plan for their failed military strategy. Our valiant forces and this interim government will defend the rights of all Ambazonians, no matter their county, village, area, clan, tribe of origin, religion, or group affiliation. We seek to reassure Ambazonians from the coastal area to the savannah area to go about their businesses. No one will be stigmatized or dehumanized by any greedy colonial proxies in Ambazonia, not under my watch. Anyone who dares to kill the innocent will be automatically considered a public enemy in Ambazonia. Bearers of the ugly messages of hate, bigotry, tribalism, and xenophobia, you need to cross the borders now into La République du Cameroon, if you are not already there, where that kind of nonsense is tolerated and even celebrated. Our common citizenship of Ambazonia will never again be defined by colonial fabrications such as Northwest and Southwest nonsense. We are not a nobody's piece of land in the planet Mars to be identified by some cardinal points, south, west, east, north. And even our streets and villages in Ambazonia will no longer be named after numbers, my 1, my 2, my 4, my 15, my 16, my 17, my 2, 9, etc. That's all French Cameroon colonial hocus pocus in Ambazonia. From Donga Mantung to Sako, we exalt our indigenous names. We are Ambazonians. We are the 13th starred nation representing a federation of 13 counties for now. And by the grace of God, the 55th nation in Africa. May God continue to protect our Ambazonia restoration forces. If you believe, as I do, that there is freedom at the end of this tunnel, go now and pay your draft in your county. And let's kick out these French-speaking barbarians occupying our country as soon as possible. Viva the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, and God bless Ambazonia. Thank you.
October, Southern Cameroon. The flag of Southern Cameroon is made of
glory, we the Ambazonians, special loyalty. Praise to our Savior who granted us the freedom. Allegiance to the hero who brought the lonely Diablo. Glory to glory, we rise in our fall. Here in a nation flowing rivers and holy. Glory, glory, glory to the Father for making you a nation, a joy forevermore. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall hear and plenty meet in our need, and your children shall